Hi listeners, welcome back to Get Out of Crime podcast with your host Zion. So today's podcast we're going to be talking about Catch Me Outside. What do you do when someone tells you to send your postcode or come link them? When someone wants to fight you but you want to stay out of crime, how do you manage the situation? Myself personally, I've been through many of these situations where people have told me, yo, send your postcode, I'm coming, or come to me, fam, all these types of things. As someone that's been in gangs and that's been in prison and has a reputation for being a gang member, I deal with these situations in a way to let the people know I'm not a mug, but at the same time, I don't have time for these types of things. So I'm going to give you the steps that I take so that you can also take those steps. Let's get it. The first step we have is it's okay to argue. Arguing is not necessarily a bad thing. Myself, I thrive in arguments, in winning an argument. So you can argue, but just don't intentionally provoke your opponent. You don't have to shy away from replying back, with get backs and even little insults or your strong opinions. It's okay to do those types of things. Just don't go too hard, because that's when it turns into provoking. The second step we have is argue back without provoking. What does arguing back without provoking means? Arguing back without provoking means having limits. Some common sense also helps. For example, laughing at someone's terminally ill relative would be crossing the line because, people can lose it, and also provoking doesn't help the situation. It just makes it worse. So it's like, poking a bear. That's what provoking is. And, if you're going to keep poking it, don't complain when it attacks because you also play the part. So the next step we have is be assertive. So there is passive behavior, assertive behavior, and aggressive behavior. Passive behavior is when you're a yes person, when you're a pushover, you're easily influenced, easily led. People can tell you things and you would say yes, and they can easily get you into committing crime. Being aggressive means when even in your responses, the way you respond, you're just aggressive in your tone, aggressive in the things you say. And sometimes, say for example, you take things too personally or the wrong way, and it's not even just about that, it's just the way you respond to things. People can say things and you're like, what do you mean? Instead of saying something more assertive. So that's what being aggressive means. So now we're going to come to being assertive. So being assertive means it's in between both of those. So in between both of those, being assertive is when you're not a yes person and you're not aggressive. So the way you respond with power, you respond with confidence, like a boss. So just imagine a boss sitting back, for example, El Chapo, when someone's calling him to beef, and the way he responds, he's not responding as a passive person, like, okay, sorry, I'm gonna do this, and he's not responding in an aggressive way, like, what do you mean? The way he responds is in an assertive way, like a boss. He would say things like, come try, in a calm way. But the things you're saying is powerful. So that's what being assertive is. So in these situations, being passive, for example, in this situation would be if someone told you to come outside, a passive answer would be, oh no, why would you do that? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. So that's what being passive would be. Or you could be like, okay, I can come, but I don't want no trouble. I'm sorry. things like that, you know. And also another example of being passive can also be easily led. So you will say, okay, I'll come then, I'll come then, where? And then you actually go, like a mug. An aggressive response to this would be, what do you mean, fam? Okay, I'm gonna come outside, I'm gonna F you up. Do you think I'm some race man? Do you think I'm some prick? Send your postcode. So that's what an aggressive response would be. And an assertive response to this would be, as I would do. So this is something that one of the lines that I usually would say. So for example, there was a time when a girl told me, send your postcode, or I'm coming to meet you. Send your postcode, I'm coming to meet you. Not necessarily my postcode, because we lived in the same area. So she said to, yeah, I'm coming to meet you, I'm going to come drag you, send me your address, those types of things. So my assertive response was, you're not coming here to drag anyone, because I'm not a mug. But at the same time, know that you're coming here and you're going to be meeting the police, because I don't have time for these types of things. So that's what I told her, you know. And then I was saying things that, you know, like, you're a bum, you know, I don't have time for these things, I've got dreams to chase, and those types of things, you know. So to let them know, you know, you've got bigger fishes to fry, you're not on the same levels. So that was an assertive response. Being assertive is when you're able to communicate your point without coming across like a trembling leaf. Showing assertiveness instead of being aggressive, because when you show aggressiveness or passiveness, you look weak. And when you're assertive, you look strong, boss, and feared. Because people would be like, why is she not reacting? Why is he not reacting? And why? And at the same time, the things that you say is, you know, boss vibes. So that's what assertive is, boss vibes. Our fourth point, we have know yourself. Know yourself. Know yourself. You don't need to prove a point. You know who you are. Whether that's a boss, a queen, an OG, which is an original gangster. The people who bark the loudest are the ones who feel the need to prove a point. You know, we all come across people like that. Chihuahuas. I've been in prison with people like that, you know. People that's always talking, be barking the most, they're the loudest. The person that was barking loud, you know, didn't have a big bite. Didn't have much of a bite. And that's the thing. So are you that type of person? Are you the type of person that talks a lot, you bark a lot? So yeah, know yourself. And when you do come across people like that, that do a lot of talking, just know that they are chihuahuas, and don't entertain that. You don't need to prove a point, because it's only weak people that feel like you need to keep proving your point to people, or you need to prove your point, because you already know what you're on, you know what you've done. Say, boss, you are not that person unless you are, and you feel the need to prove a point. The real ones already have their points established and don't need to keep proving a point to a different audience. Don't go around to different people. Every time you go around people that don't know you feel like you need to prove, oh, I'm bad, I'm not a mug, and things like that, because the facts are already established. So you don't need to continue to prove a point. You move on from that because it's already set. The final point that we have is, think about what you have to lose. What do you have to lose? What's on the line for you? What could you potentially lose to this? Is it your life? Custody of your kids? Your home? Money? Your assets? What could you possibly lose to this? Let's think about your life. So you go outside. So someone tells you, catch me outside. Someone tells you, meet me outside, send your postcode, and you send your postcode, and now you're together, you've met face to face. First of all, before you go out there, you need to think. Anything could happen. So thinking about your life, anything could happen. So the person that you're going to meet could have weapons, and you don't know the type of weapons that they could have, you know. And the dumb people are the ones that underestimate the enemies, you know. So don't go there thinking, oh, she's not going to bring a gun, she doesn't know where to get a gun, you know, or he's not going to bring an MK-47, he doesn't know where to get. No, don't underestimate your opponent. So you're first of all going to go there, you don't know what type of, if they have a weapon, what type of weapon they have, and then you get there, and also you don't know if they are with people. So you're going there potentially by yourself or with people, weapons or no weapons, and then you're there. If the person doesn't have weapons and you guys don't have weapons, you know, we've all heard about the one punch killer. So you never know, you know, one punch might be a killer. And then who's going to be the person dead? You or the other person? And either way, you both lose your life. So what's the point? So you're going to go there, and then potentially, you know, a punch can end it all. There's a story that I will be speaking on with Rebecca Douglas, a girl from Brixton. At 14 years old, she killed someone during a fight. And the way that happened was they went to meet up for a fight. Catch me outside, fam. What are you saying when I see you? They met up finally, caught each other, and they had a fight. Rebecca had a afro comb, you know, the comb with the metal end. And she used that, stabbed the girl in her brain, and the girl died from it. Did the girl know that she was going to get killed by a metal comb? You go there thinking, yeah, I'm bad, not thinking about your life, and then your life finishes. And Rebecca, what happened to her? She's in prison since the age of 14. So you both lose out, even though one person loses out their life, but you both lose out. So do you want to be either of the person, either the person that's dead or the person that's serving over 14 years behind prison? Think about it. What do you have to lose? Is it worth it? And then who's going to be left to pick up the pieces? There's another story with a girl. They had a fight. Siobhan, she's now in prison for murder or some, you know, manslaughter, something similar. She had a fight with another girl, and the girl died. And the girl who died had a son. And, you know, you get yourself involved in these types of things. You go outside to fight, you get yourself, you know, into fights and things like that, and you don't realize, you don't think about your sons and children and daughters and families, the ones that's left to pick up the pieces. But you went outside. Catch me outside. Who got caught lacking? Who's crying now? Because both of them are crying very much. You don't know what could happen, because even the person who ended up going to prison for this, they had people in their family that ended up taking their own lives because of these stuff. These are things that you don't think about when you go outside. Her mum ended up taking her own life when her daughter went to prison. Not that it was her first time going to prison, but she just had enough, and also she was mentally ill. And the girl who killed the person, she didn't think of this, that catch me outside is going to result to your mum killing herself. But you go outside, big, bad, brave. You want to, you know, prove some type of point because you're weak, because you feel like you need to prove a point. catch me outside. Think about what you have to lose. If not your life, your kids. You know, even if you don't end up losing your life, you could end up getting arrested. And with social services, any little things, they can use that to take your kids away from you. But you don't think about it when you go outside. And then when you do end up getting arrested and you, for example, end up going to prison for this, for example, if it was like a GBH or like a minor thing, you know, that did still land you in prison, who's going to look after your home? Is your landlord going to keep your home for you? Because most of the people that do go to prison, depending on how long you get, which usually if you do get like more than a few months, then your landlord is not going to keep that up for you, and you can try to get people to keep making payments, but eventually it's not going to work out. So you're going to lose your home, the money, you're going to lose money because you're not going to be able to make money. People think that, yeah, you can still make money behind bars, which, you know, it's just in certain circumstances, but it's not that deep. You know, you can make change, you can make some money depending on, you know, what the connections you've had before, but it's still not really that, basically. So is it worth it? Is it worth taking the risk? So think about all these things: money, your assets, your home, your life, your kids. Then think, is this person and this situation worth losing all of this? Is it worth taking the risk of losing my life potentially, of losing my kids potentially, my home potentially, my family? Think about your mothers, your aunties, your little nephews, your cousins, your little brothers, sisters, grandpas, aunties, all these things, your friends. Think about all the people that love you. You can potentially lose that by going outside, and think, is it worth it? Because to me personally, nothing is worth it. Not even my pride. Like, I don't have time for it. Because when the crime is committed and your pride is fed, guess what? It's time to face the consequences. Whether you're behind bars or down below, it's time to face the consequences for going outside. Don't get caught lacking. Take these steps with you and apply them to your situations. Drop us a comment, message, letter, and let us know how it's worked out for you. You can call us in or send us an email and let us know how it's worked out for you. Good luck. Stay up to date for part 2 of Catch Me Outside, how to deal with these types of situations. Contact us for more tips on staying out of crime, and visit our services page where you can also sign up for the Stay Out of Crime workshops and find more tips and tools. Thank you. Until next time.